Hey guys, Alex from 7th Hour Films back again with My Hero Academia. Last time around we had Hellish Hell. It's not just hell, or hell, but it's hell-ish hell. So yeah. Basically, we kind of recapped what happened in the war, and then we learned that most of the enemy's forces have been captured, so Shigaraki or All for One 2, All for Two, All for, I don't know, whatever is happening there. They're not really sitting too pretty. He's got 7 Nomu, Dabi, and Spinner, and that's kind of it, you know? I guess Toga's out there too, but that's relatively it, you know? Meanwhile, the Doctor, Makia, Mr. Compress, Reed Destro, they all got captured, so yeah, there's that. But the All for One that is within Shigaraki wants the Nomu to go to Tartarus and bust out the real All for One. Does that mean there'll just be 2 All for Ones? I don't know. I don't know how that works. And then Midnight's dead. Midnight's just dead. Remember funny boob lady who is, it's the R-rated hero, ha ha ha. Yeah, she just died. Isn't that fun? Aren't we having a good time? I don't know, man. Look, whatever. We're just gonna get through this, and we're gonna be fine. Look, I just got off of a really fun episode of Demon Slayer, and now I gotta watch this. So here we go. And I know some of you might be thinking, well, Alex, if you don't like it, you can stop watching. And I mean, yeah, that is an option, but at the same time, when you've sunk 127 episodes into an anime, it's kind of hard to not see it through to the end, you know? I don't know. The good news is, again, as I said last episode, we know how the show is going to end, how it has to end, you know? Unless Deku is the greatest hero. He's the number one hero because all the other heroes died. I don't know. Anyway, like always, the reaction is down in the description and in the pinned comment for your viewing pleasure, so let's just go ahead and jump right into this episode of My Hero Academia. Here we go. And there's another depressing episode. You know, see, I'm so conflicted. I'm conflicted about it because on the one hand, it's like, you know, on the one hand, I'm sitting here, you know, just fucking beating myself up about this shit. And not even like that. It's just like, I'm just not enjoying myself, you know? It's just not fun. I'm just sitting here like, why does this have to be so goddamn depressing, you know? But like at the same time, I think about okay, compare this to like other superhero properties in the world, like the MCU. The MCU, there's a lot of fun shit in the MCU, but they took their time. And when they got to the end of Infinity War and like most of Endgame, yeah, they earned the right to be depressing. Why does this feel different, you know? Cause I've thought about too, like the Overhaul arc. I friggin' love the Overhaul arc. It's got its depressing moments, but I felt like there was always hope, you know? There was always hope. This and okay, let's start off. I hate what they've done with All for One. Let's just put this out there. I absolutely hate what they've done with All for One because while he keeps going on about, oh, this is all for Tomura. He will be the next me and stuff. It's like, yeah, bullshit. And then it cuts to the real one. And he's just like, I will do all of this. This is all for me, you know? This is all for me. And it's like, so Tomura is just a pawn. And it's like, oh. great. Because I really enjoyed All for One, because I like that he wasn't a typical villain, you know? Because everything he was, like, back in the day, yeah, he was a typical villain. All of this was for him. And then he got his ass kicked. And then he got his ass kicked by the biggest idiot of them all, you know? He got his ass kicked by a meathead, and then he was like, oh, I need to do something, you know? But I liked, like in season 3, when it's like, oh, Tomura, you failed. But that's okay, because, you know, fail as many times as you need. I'm here. I am here for you. And I thought that was a really interesting thing, you know? That was an interesting dynamic that, no, he was like, yeah, I'm done. That, I will keep fighting, you know, if I need to. Like, I'll fight if I need to, but this is for Tomura. This is for Tomura to be the next, you know, I have my successor. And it really did work. It really did work, too, because it was a good parallel, you know? Especially during that point, you know, latter half of season 2, top half of season 3, it worked so well because of the mirror, you know? Because of the mirror of All Might and All for One passing on to their successors, Midoriya and Shigaraki. And at the same time, going through their own, you know, internships, their, you know, learning experiences, where Midoriya had Gran Torino and, you know, the other heroes there, where Shigaraki had Stain. And I don't really care for Stain. I kind of hope he doesn't really do too much now that he's back. But I liked him as a learning experience for Shigaraki. And the fact that they paralleled so perfectly, I like that. That's out the window. That's gone. That's over. No, he's just doing this for him. He just wants to be the ultimate demon of this world. Like, I know he says all this stuff, but no. No, he's just doing this for him. Like, oh. Thanks for getting rid of your interesting villain. And then the whole thing of like, oh, Shigaraki, he looked like he wanted to be saved. And it's like, oh great, why don't you get rid of another interesting villain? I mean, you can do that. I mean, for God's sake, one of the most iconic villains of all time, Darth Vader, has a fucking redemption story. So it's possible. But I'm also of the opinion that a villain like Azula should never be redeemed. Like, no, you don't need that, you know? So yeah, so All for One, there it goes. Easy, that's it. Great. Thanks. So on top of the fact that this is the most depressing shit ever, I've also lost a really interesting villain. 2 interesting villains, honestly. And it's like, oh. Okay. Thanks. You know what I gotta say, though? The one thing that, like, makes me not necessarily happy, but a little more... It kind of gives me that hope every time I see it, is Uraraka. Uraraka is, like, the most hopeful person on this show. And I know, I'm saying this, she wasn't in this episode at all, which is part of my problem. But last episode, when she's going around saving... Because that's the thing, is in that whole destruction scene, I was like, man, it's like the beginning of Attack on Titan, you know? It's just depressing, people are dying left and right. But here comes Uraraka, saving the day, saving as many people as she possibly can. Maybe not everyone, but she's really fucking trying out there. And so it's like the one thing that every time we cut back to Uraraka, I feel a little bit better. It's like, oh, look, my hero is on. It's like the show that I used to love is still there. It's just in her. It's just her, weirdly. But you've got all this shit of Todoroki and Toya and... burn his throat? How the fuck did that... I don't know. But you got Todoroki. And I will say the other point, to an extent, I would say, is Bakugo. Like, Bakugo's kind of the other one, because I feel like Bakugo, like, even if he is sort of in the middle of this whole Deku thing of, like, you know, Deku and his grand destiny and having to face these great evils and all this, you know, history with All For One and the past users and Shimura and her family and all this. Meanwhile, Bakugo's in here like, yo, we just need to kick people's asses, you know? Like, I feel like Bakugo is out here like, okay, none of that matters. Bad guy, boom. That's Bakugo. So Bakugo's kind of the other part. Like, Bakugo and Uraraka are, like, carrying this show for me right now, you know? Because even here, it's like all this weight. This motherfucker's storming in with injuries. Like, if this motherfucker dies, I'm gonna kill him. Like, yes! Thank you! You know what? He's a hero modeled after Best Jeanist. Let's just say that. Oh my god. How's Best Jeanist? Is he alright? I don't know. Can't believe fucking Overhaul couldn't... Well, I guess if Overhaul couldn't open his door. Like, even if the latch was undone, it's like he couldn't open his door. Uh-oh. Man, again, though, as soon as those Nomu show up, as soon as those Nomu and Shigaraki show up, would those guns not automatically murder All For One just right there? Like, hello, you know what they're here for, obviously. Like, even if they bust out all the rest of the villains, Muscular, Stain, Overhaul, all of them, would those guns, that guy, would he not automatically murder All For One to be like, well, you're not getting this, bitch. Oh my god. This only worked because there are conveniently two of me. And it's like, what the fuck are you talking about? It makes less sense now. Like, the traces of a consciousness within Shigaraki, I kind of get that. And, like, you know, kind of driving some impulses. But the fact that he's just completely possessed Shigaraki, and also there's another one, you know, there's still the original in the prison, it's like, oh, come on. That is some freaking somehow Palpatine returned levels of nonsense. Welcome to my weekly shitting on My Hero Academia. Oh, man. You know the funny thing, too? Because I am a fan of the Trash Taste podcast, and they recently talked about My Hero, and they basically had the exact opposite problems that I do, and yet I feel like we still came to the same conclusion of what happened to this show, man. I don't know. And look, if you're enjoying this, thank God. Thank God. I wish I could. I'm envious of you that you can enjoy this, but honestly, I'm sitting here and every Monday I'm like, all right, I got Demon Slayer, I got JoJo, which the ending of part 5 kind of tanked, but that's beside the point. But overall, JoJo's been great. I'm really enjoying Full Metal. I've got other stuff on the horizon. Then I sit down, I'm like, oh, shit, I gotta watch My Hero today. And I gotta do it because after 127 episodes, you gotta keep going, you know? Now, granted, if this was something like, if I was like 127 episodes into like One Piece and I just wasn't liking it anymore, I'd probably drop it. Because I'm talking about like proportions. Like, yeah, if we're talking proportionate, if I got 127 episodes into One Piece and that was like a tenth of the story, and then I would have free reign to drop it at that point. I'm not even into One Piece, I just want to make this comparison, but I feel like we only have like 3 or 4 arcs left in this show. Like, maybe I'm gonna guess like max 2 or 3 seasons maybe. So the fact that I've invested this much time, like, I gotta see how it ends, you know? I gotta see how it ends. It's the same thing for Attack on Titan, which I know I bring up every week too. But it's the same thing with Attack on Titan. Like, yeah, I'm gonna be there for the final season part 3 part 1 and the final season part 3 part 2. What the fuck happened there, Mappa? That's just stupid, but whatever. But yeah, like I'm gonna stick it out. But like right now, you know what? I'm at least glad that it's like, okay, I've got Bakugo and I've got Uraraka, and if I didn't have them, you know what? I need to go buy some Bakugo and Uraraka figures before the season ends. Forget these two and their nonsense. I need Bakugo and Uraraka right now because these two are carrying this show for me, you know? And you know, it's also kind of reminds me of the whole thing when Bakugo was talking to Endeavor about when they were talking about their quirks and stuff. I did like Bakugo bringing up, it's like, I may only have one quirk, but I'm going to be the greatest hero, man. And it kind of puts you into perspective, like, oh yeah, everybody has nonsense, you know? Like, Deku has his 25 million quirks from his previous users. Todoroki has 2 quirks just because of his parents. Bakugo has 1. It's not even a full fire quirk, it's explosions. And it's like, you know what? I like that. I like that Bakugo is not tied to some ridiculous thing. That was the other thing, like, a couple episodes ago with Mr. Compress. It's like, oh, yes, I have this, you know, great lineage, too. And it's like, oh, my fucking God. How many people can have a, you know, crazy lineage in this show that are, like, buds, you know? You got Shigaraki, Dabi, and Mr. Compress all at the same time, you know? I did like Spinner. You know, Spinner's starting to climb up the ranks, too. Because Spinner out here, he literally said, I had stuff in common with Shigaraki. We were gamers, you know. He literally said that. That's like vindication for me right there. But he literally says, like, oh, we were gamers and stuff. And I like that he's going against All for One 2, you know? All for One 2, electric bullshit, Lou. But he's like, hey, I'm here for Shigaraki, not you. And All for One's like, yeah, go quiet. And it's like, oh, Spinner, please do something. I've never really cared about Spinner, but if Spinner does something, I'm going to be so happy. I don't know. It's just a lot of nonsense going on. And now I gotta go watch JoJo, which, that's just nonsense city right there. But that's a different point. Anyway, we'll be back next week to shit on My Hero some more. Maybe I'm actually gonna see if I can get Bakugo and Uraraka figures, and I'm gonna hope that I don't regret saying that those two are carrying the show. I don't know. Maybe Uraraka will explode or something, and Bakugo. We're gonna learn that Bakugo is actually also the descendant of Redestro or some garbage like that. I don't know. So yeah. With all that being said, I'm Alex from 7th Hour Films, and I will see you guys next time. Take care. Alright guys, thanks for watching this video. There's a bunch of links on screen if you want to go click around any of those. There's a playlist for all of my Hero Academia reactions, as well as another video you can go click on if you want. There's also a subscribe button and a Patreon button on screen, as well as other links in the description if you want to go check out any of those. See you guys later.